This is the 864 podcast from Rob of the Green, providing you with some insights, ideas, and actionable takeaways in just 864 seconds, or 1% of your day, with the explicit goal of making you get a little better, even if it's just 1%. Here's your host, Rob O'Donoghue. Let's do this.
Hello there, and welcome to the introduction episode for the 864 podcast. I'm Rob O'Donoghue, and it's on the Rob of the Green platform. Thank you for checking it out. What did you think of the intro music and the intro voiceover? Hopefully gives you a sense that this is going to be a fast-paced podcast and hopefully a little bit of fun and enjoyment while you listen, for sure, as well. So I'm quite excited by it, and I've been looking forward to release this episode and the bunch of ones I've recorded for a while now. So I just wanted to give you a bit of background on this show. I'm going to keep it relatively short. Promise that in keeping with the 864, I will do so, and that'll become apparent as I explain what this is all about. So when I started out recording podcasts early 2017, my vision was to do about 10 to 15 and see how it went. Then I upped that to 30, and then I did 50. I certainly wanted to dig into people's stories, real people, their stories, their careers, see what I could learn and share from them. And I was also very keen that during these conversations, you, the listener, could take something away positive that you could apply in your daily life. And that's not groundbreaking, brand new ideas, but it was something I'm passionate about and continue to be so. As a coach, allowing another person just to be listened to and to talk is a powerful thing to do. And during the podcasts, I hope I've given my guests that opportunity as well. So with that in mind, I felt that a longer form show was always the way to go. And I realized more and more that each of the episodes, each of the conversations that I had for the 1% Better show needed to be a little bit longer to get deeper into the person's story. And that's where the real, I guess in some instances, that's where the real value and benefit comes from. The longer conversations that went on, the more good stuff that came out. And as probably you would imagine, the guest gets more and more relaxed, more interesting topics come up and more rapport is built. So, as a fan of the longer form podcast myself, episodes up to 90 minutes and beyond were and are still common in the 1% Better show. As the season went along, I've always been looking for feedback. I've probably ad nauseum asked for it, and as is the case, sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. No news is good news maybe in some instances, but one of the things that came up during the season, and still to this day, was that people would prefer or like to hear a shorter form podcast. They see that 85 minutes maybe on a podcast when they turn it on and realise, how am I going to listen to this? And they'll probably over 3 or 4 attempts get through it. Personally, that's kind of what I do. I listen to long form podcasts that could go on to 3 hours and maybe break that up over 2 or 3 days. That works for me, but not for everybody. I read somewhere that the average commute is around 20 to 30 minutes, and maybe that's what the duration of a podcast should be. If you're a commuter, that could work well. So, taking that on board, probably towards the end of season 1, late 2017, I started to think about ways in which I could create a shorter podcast, but still make it meaningful and have some good insights and learnings that could come out of it for a listener to take on board and improve. So, as I took my break between season 1 and season 2 of the 1% Better podcast, I got deeper into thinking about how I could actually make this happen. So I got my thinking cap on and did some maths, very rudimentary level mathematics. A shorter show, I wanted it to still be aligned to the 1% Better theme. Is there a link between those two? And that's where the idea of the 864 came into play. So let me explain. 864 stands for the amount of seconds in 1% of your day. So in 24 hours, 864 seconds, which equals 14 minutes, 24 seconds, is actually 1% of 24 hours. Trust me, I know it doesn't sound like it, but it is. You can do the math. I've done it over and over and over just so that I'm not getting this wrong, and I've asked other people to do so. It's 1% for your day. So with that, I said, that could fit a short podcast with a guest or myself sometimes, sharing insights, learnings, tips, more focused on maybe 1 or 2 areas, and hopefully provide some value to you, the listener, during that time frame. So it all seems to fit together time-wise quite well. I know it can be a disaster when it comes to naming things. It took me a long time to come up with the name of Rob of the Green. In truth, it was my friend Cormac that helped me with that. But when he came up with it, I knew it was the right name. The same sort of thing happened when I came up with the 864. It's 864 seconds, 14 minutes, 24 seconds, 1% of your day. And to me, that seems to fit. Now, I will put this out there. It's difficult to record a podcast in 14 minutes, 24 seconds, for sure. I think it has been a challenge, and I will say that if I ever get it around that, I'll be doing well. But some of them go over the 15, 16 minutes, but generally under 20 minutes is the target. Something around the 14 and a half is the ultimate goal. Stick with me and see how it goes over the next while. Now, to the shows and the guests. So over the last 2 to 3 months, I've been recording episodes with a broad range of guests from Ireland, from the US. So far, the topics covered with my guests include entrepreneurship, meditation, writing, marketing, sales, how to do self-promotion and self-PR, and I've lots more in the pipeline that I'm recording on an ongoing basis as well. In those 14 and a half minutes, you can get 2 or 3 takeaways from a specific area that hopefully will make you 1% better. So over the next few weeks, I will be releasing these on an ongoing basis, and hopefully they're ones that you can connect with and resonate with. Just to add, if you're a listener to the 1% Better show, that will continue. It might take a little bit of a hiatus while I release a few of these together over the next few weeks, but I also have a number of those recorded and will continue to release those on a Thursday or Friday every week. So if you still like the long form, don't worry, it's not going anywhere. This one is just something different, another experiment to test something out, to see if it connects, if it's of value, if it's of benefit to you. Time will tell, I guess. There's certainly value and benefit coming to me from interviewing these people, and I'm learning lots, meeting very inspirational folks, growing personally and professionally. So it's all good stuff, and that really is the purpose of it for you as well. Taking something away, applying it, putting a bit of discipline around it, and maybe improving in one way or another. So that's pretty much the why. The beauty of a 15-minute podcast is when I do interview somebody, it's over quite quickly, and editing can be much easier than an hour and a half long. Sometimes that can be tough. So my only asks to you are as follows. Please subscribe to the 864. It's on iTunes, or Apple Podcasts as it's now called. If you like the sound of it, if you like the first few episodes, subscribe. That's great. That gives it a platform. It gives it visibility. It hopefully allows it to be heard by others because it gets up those charts. I'd love if you left a rating and or a review in iTunes. It takes a couple of seconds, that's all, and it means a lot. It does help with the ranking, it helps with the promotion of it. I know very few people do that. I'm guilty of that myself, but just maybe take a couple of minutes to do it. I'd appreciate it. Totally. And number 2, I'm still on the social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, mainly at Rob of the Green, and on LinkedIn I'm Rob O'Donoghue. I'll be posting updates to the 864 there, not a new account for each of those socials. Rob of the Green is the underlying platform that will host this and the other podcasts that I roll out over however long or whatever else comes up. Just continue to follow me on there, share out, retweet, like, and all that good stuff to help me broaden the reach. If the new idea and new show is of interest to you, you can do that. The newsletter, just go onto the website, sign up there. We've culled that massively over the last while, thanks to GDPR. At least now the click-through rate has gone up massively, so I know I'm targeting the right people. Next ask, maybe tell a friend about it. The old-fashioned, if you're talking to somebody about podcasts or about business or about entrepreneurship or about one of the topics that come up in the show, share it with them. I'm sure they might like it, and thank you for it. And finally, I'm still doing the 1 Minute Monday. This other idea that came out of nowhere that I came up with one day while out for a run was, for me, it's all about trying to put something out of value, and every week through the podcast, through something I read, through something I hear, I keep a log of, I say that's something that would be good to share on pass forward or pay it forward, and hopefully somebody somewhere gets something out of that. So that will continue maybe every week, every other week. We'll see how much I can get out the door content wise. It's lots of fun, but it'll keep going, and follow it and like it and share it. So all of those asks, if you were to do one or two of them, should only take you a couple of seconds out of your day, and that would mean a lot, just to help me spread the good word of the 1% better theme, be it through the podcast, through the newsletter, whatever. I'm probably repeating myself now, and I am keeping my eye on the clock here because I don't want to go over 864 for this intro either. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's the intro. I think that's all I can think of right now. I am going to say thank you for listening. Thank you for signing up. I hope you enjoy the first set of episodes that I release with guests from the US and from Ireland. I know I enjoy doing it. I am continuing to enjoy doing it. And, oh yes, I promise to keep the intros quite short on all of those shows in the interest of the 864 time frame. So don't worry, I'm not going to ramble there. I will include links to the guests in the show notes for every episode on the website. I will put a new page on the website called 864 where you can click into and get all those details. It'll be in the usual links. And I really look forward to hearing your feedback about the 864. Does it fit that little gap that you thought would work with a podcast? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you prefer the longer form? Whatever, just share. There you go. I shall leave it there. I'll let the music play it out. Thanks so much, and have a great rest of day. Good luck.